Okay, welcome to this episode of Hey Girl. I'm your host, Bill Janisse, and I am really excited because today I'm joined with a really fabulous talent. She is a performing artist. She is an entrepreneur. She runs multiple businesses, model, photographer, MC. I mean, she just really is the full package here. I'm joined today by Amanda Nowak. Hey, girl.
Hey, girl.
Yes, girl. And I love that you are sporting your pop-up performer shirt. Put the camera down. Let's look at that. Yes, girl. This is one of Vegas's newest and hottest entertainment companies, and we're going to get into that. But thank you for taking the time.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for inviting me because I know that we have talked about this for a few months now.
We have.
And we're finally doing it, and I love it. And I'm so proud of you, and I've listened to tons of the podcasts.
Aww.
So all the episodes are great, and I think you're doing a great job. So congratulations to you first.
Thank you. That honestly means a lot. It really does. And I'm touched that you take the time to listen because I know you're busy, girl. So
I love listening to you.
I'm always flattered when people make the time. So let's get into it. So I want to know a little bit more. I want you to talk, a little bit more about your history, so the audience gets to know you. I mean, anyone in Vegas knows who you are. You're, friends with, everybody in the industry. You're well known. You're well respected. But, would you say that your first professional experiences in Vegas were as a dancer?
Yes.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Well, what actually brought me out to Vegas was Fashionistas.
Yes, that was the first show I remember seeing you in, but I wasn't sure if that was your first show in Vegas or if it was just the first time I saw you. But you were brilliant in that show.
Oh, thank you.
It was so much fun watching you in that show. And you had the blonde hair back then.
Yeah, the natural blonde. Not naturally red. But that brought me out here because I was living in LA for about a year and a half. Okay. And doing the whole LA thing and auditioning my ass off, Oh, am I able to say ass?
Yeah, you're fine. So,
okay.
Remind me though where you're from though. Where did you grow up?
In Minnesota.
Okay, great. Yes, you're a Midwestern girl, just like me.
Yeah.
I'm Michigander.
There you go. Yeah, Midwest, just so nice to everybody and can talk to anybody. It's my thing. But yeah, so I lived in Minnesota and danced my whole life there. I started dancing at 2.5 and did studio and then the dance team. And then I ended up on a dance scholarship at this company called Xenon Dance Company.
Oh, perfect.
And it was in Minneapolis. And so I did that and then did a few gigs here and there. I ended up teaching a little bit. And then I went on a cruise ship, Royal Caribbean.
Yeah, I did Royal as well. I think it's that's like a pretty common journey to get to where we ended up going. Yeah. What ship did you do?
I was on the Rhapsody of the Seas.
Perfect. I was on the Legend.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. Fancy.
Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. So I did the cruise ship thing, but my dream was always to live in LA. I lived there for a little bit. I danced at Disneyland. I did a few dancing things, which were pretty cool for like, a newbie, in the professional industry. But I got to dance with like Beyonce at a NBA All-Star game.
Yes. Okay, girl.
And I danced in a Blink-182 music video. So like I did a few things, but like honestly, it was quite a struggle. And it was like tons of auditioning, tons of classes, lots of no's.
Yeah, just to try and stay up on it. And then also just like similar to like New York, like the cost of living there is very challenging.
Right. And thankfully I didn't have to deal with the rent or anything. I lived with my good friend who I worked with on the cruise ship. I lived with her and her family. Oh, nice. And they let me stay there rent free, which I was so thankful for. But it allowed me to like really, really push myself and constantly go to class and constantly go to auditions and stuff like that and, strive and all that stuff. But it was still hard and still lots of no's and, you don't have the right look or whatever. You're too tall or yada, yada, right?
All this stuff. So, and we do develop a somewhat of a thick skin, but it's still, it's even as thick-skinned as you can get and resilient as you can get, it's still hard to hear that many no's in a row. You know what I mean? No matter who you are.
Totally. Right. You could be the best dancer in in the room, but if you don't have the right look that they're looking for, you know,
or it's like just, as you mentioned, the height, like you have no control over your height, like
exactly. You know, I can change the color of my hair, but I can't change my height. So if I'm like way too tall for the artist that I would be dancing behind, it just doesn't work.
That was something I struggled with too. Like I obviously, like with my height, I mean, I remember coming to Vegas and thinking, okay, I'm tall, so that should be to my benefit in Vegas, and to a certain extent it was. But when I would audition for, I'll say headliners or somebody, you know, whatever performing artists that, you know, a lot of times I was too tall to work with some of those singers and some of those recording artists, but I would make it to like till a certain amount of cuts, whatever. And I remember one time, I think it was even for Donnie and Marie here. And I was like it was like that final cut type moment. And they had us lined up in like our height line, you know? And I remember like trying to slouch, like trying to make myself shorter.
That's so funny.
It didn't work, but you know.
I've done that too before, because females get put in a line too, from tallest to shortest, you know, and sometimes I'm like the tallest one that I do kind of like, shrink down a little bit, or I have a whole bunch of tall showgirls that I'm like, reaching up.
You put your hair in a high bun that day.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Oh, but it's true. It's so true. So, I mean, coming to Vegas, did you have any, I mean, obviously you had a job offer, which was great, to do a show, and that's what we all want. Did you have any apprehensions, though? I mean, coming from, like, LA, I mean, I just hear, like, you know, a lot of times when you're already set up in LA, the move to Vegas is something that not everybody likes to do. So did you have any, apprehensions, or what was that process like?
It was a little bit weird, because I never ever thought in my whole life I would live in Las Vegas, like from Minnesota. I just thought that Vegas honestly was, and this is probably going to sound bad, it's just where I was raised, but like I thought it was a lot of like gambling, drugs and drinking and strippers.
Right.
And then like the showgirls, which I didn't really know much about, but like I kind of never really considered myself a showgirl, because I did like jazz and hip hop and every kind of like dancing, right? But I never really thought of myself as a showgirl.
Right. Well, I think sometimes the title showgirl gets, we know what it is, but I think I think before living here, there's a little bit of a misconception of what a real showgirl is. Like it somehow gets lumped into the stripper category in some way, which isn't true. Like a real showgirl is not that. You know what I mean?
Right. But honestly, when I got the opportunity, because I auditioned in LA for Fashionistas, and I made it to the end. They offered me the job, and it was kind of one of those things that it was like a 6-month contract. The pay was good, and it was like a new, change of scenery. And I was like, I don't have to struggle and like work my ass off to try and book one gig that's going to last for one day in LA. Like, I'll have consistent work for 6 months in Vegas. And I was like, I'll go try it. I'll see what it's like. And then I'll save up my money, and then I'll move back to LA. Well, when I came here, I was like, I'm never leaving. Like, this is amazing. Like, I fit in with Vegas.
Yeah.
I didn't fit in with LA.
Yeah.
And so it was just changing my mindset and like realizing like, oh, this is where I need to be. It wasn't like I thought the dancers weren't going to be good or anything like that.
No, of course not. Yeah.
Some people think that way. They're like, oh, LA is like where all the good dancers are. And then you go to Vegas if like you don't make it. And it wasn't that. Like I had a great, continue to have a great career in Vegas. So like Vegas is totally my scene.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great. I'm so thankful that I went to that audition and it brought me here.
It was one of those like life-changing moments. I love that.
Totally.
To look back in retrospect, and I can completely relate. I feel like I had not to talk too much about me, but I had kind of a similar experience. Like when I got offered the job, I came to do Jubilee, which right there behind me, and. Same thing. I had auditioned before. I don't know. I had never been to Vegas when I got offered the job. I was living in Chicago, and I was dancing in more of like a concert dance type environment. And so I remember getting it from the other angle where people were like, "Oh, you're moving to Vegas. You're selling out, or you're gonna go do commercial work, like or a production show." They didn't think it was like they thought I was compromising some form of artistic integrity or something. And I was like, I didn't feel that way, but that was like what, like that was what that's what the Chicago, like, modern dance company, ballet company scene was saying about going to do a showgirl show in Vegas. And that's the thing too. I was like, I really did make the big switch. I was dancing with a ballet company, and then I was like, I'm going to go do a topless show in Vegas. Like, nothing could be further from the
end of the spectrum. Yeah.
But I get it. And I felt the same way, when I first got here, or my intention when I got here was the same, almost exactly the same thing. I said, you know what? It's a 6-month contract. It's consistent work. Everything you mentioned. But then something shifted when I got here, and it became home. And same. I mean, I think we're Vegas girls.
Yeah, we are.
Oh my God, did I just come up with the title of the episode?
Yes, I love it.
I love it. So Fashionistas was great too. Let me tell you, for the people who don't know, it was actually the first show I even saw in Vegas, and I remember it was at Crave. Oh. It was great.
Yes.
Because I knew Stefan Reynolds, and he got me some comps. I think he was in the show at the same time you were. And I just thought it was great. It was so much fun. It was just a fun show, and everybody was talented. Everybody was beautiful. And I remember, again, coming from Chicago, more of a concert, I would call even more of a modest dance scene, to come and to see a Vegas show. I mean, I'm coming into Jubilee, so I'm already dripping in rhinestones and crystals and stuff like that. But then to go see Fashionistas, which was just cool and sexy, I was like, yes! I was like, this is Vegas!
Yeah, and it was very, very different for myself, because I did grow up a bit more modest.
Conservative and
conservative, as far as like body and stuff.
I know, when we say conservative now, we got to be careful. We're like, people don't think that we're politically conservative. Yeah.
Right. So it was a big change for me, honestly, too, because Fashionistas was sexy, but it was more like erotic sexy.
Right. But still tasteful.
Oh yeah, it was tasteful, but there were some sexy parts that, for me, I had never
explored that on stage.
Yeah, I never really explored that before, like in real life
or even in real life. Okay. I love that you clarified that.
And funny. So it was kind of different, but honestly, the talent that was in that cast was just like top notch, and they were very welcoming, because honestly, almost everyone that was in the show were Vegas locals. There was only 2 of us that came from LA. And so everyone pretty much, knew each other or had done a show prior together. But everyone was super nice. Like, we got along really, really well, like on and off stage. And so we would hang out at Crave afterwards and have drinks and hang out in the dressing room for like hours. Yeah.
That was the big, for people who don't know, for people who haven't been in Vegas, that was like it was the only gay nightclub on the Vegas Strip, first of all.
Right.
But it was also one of the biggest and most fun. It was like where we all went. And, I was at Bally's just down the street doing our show, and we always came after to come dance and crave it up.
Yeah,
I miss Crave. I do miss Crave. It was fun.
I know. And I ended up like next door when they had what was it called? Like Girl Bar?
Yes, I remember. Yeah, I think so. I think they had a night that they called it Girl Bar. Yeah.
Yeah, like lesbian nights every, once a week or something like that. And I would like do Fashionistas, have a drink, and then I would go over there.
she was hustling, honey.
I was just living there basically, but I loved it. It was a great time. And I still remain friends with a lot of the cast. So.
Oh, I love hearing that. No, I mean, hey, listen. And that's a good segue into knowing, like, isn't that the Vegas hustle or really anywhere, but like, since we're talking about Vegas specifically, I mean, this, and you really did it and you mastered it, and like if you were a self-starter and focused and driven, there were so many, additional income opportunities that you could create for yourself. So like, as you said, I had my show, but then I would still go dance next door because I could. I mean, it's like, it was really, for me, I remember thinking, this is a money city. Like I didn't, obviously, I don't mean to be obnoxious to talk about money, but as a performer, I mean, obviously it's a factor. You have to make a living. And I just remember coming from a city like Chicago, and prior to that living in New York, I personally was used to a hustle that was working almost a lot harder for less money.
Totally.
Oh,
Totally.
So what is your, tell us a little bit more about your experiences as like a freelance artist, because you've done a lot in town.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I am one that since pretty much I moved here shortly after, I've been doing gigs along with shows that I've done, and along with nightclubs that I've danced at too. And I will say that one, you do need a hustle. You need to meet with the agents and entertainment companies and all of that stuff.
You have to put yourself out there. You have to you have
really
to network
do.
And you have to play in the sandbox, so to speak. You have to go
absolutely.
out and be seen and be social,
Absolutely. And I have been one to gig a lot. So much that I like almost forget about certain gigs because I was like, I don't know, that was just a Tuesday for me. That gig. Right. I mean, I
or
made
you've
my
done
money.
Like 3 gigs in the same day, kind of a thing.
Absolutely. I mean, there was a time in my life where I had 3 jobs like every single day.
Yeah.
And it was crazy, but like at that time, I loved doing it. I loved the hustle, and it was just like move. Next,
right.
Money.
Right.
Next thing, see these friends.
Yeah.
Be performing. So
I mean,
love it. But I love doing gigs because I do think that it can be fairly good money for a short amount of time. Mm-hmm. But I do think that when you're doing gigs, you need to be able to have, like, don't just pigeonhole yourself into just a dancer. Like,
sure.
Be a model. If you can sing, work on your singing. If, add these certain elements because then you can always get booked for different kinds of gigs.
Yeah, you have to make yourself more valuable, especially now. I mean, I'm not trying to age us or make us sound old. I mean, I'm older than you, but because we're not. But just to say the phrase like when we were younger, I really do just mean like 15 years ago.
Right.
Even in that amount of years, the name of the game has changed quite a bit. Now it's there's a different hustle. There's the social media hustle, and there's being seen. I'm trying to put yourself out there to be seen, like in videotaping. I mean, we used to never videotape ourselves in class. You know what I mean?
No, never. Oh my gosh, that is.
It's true. Right?
It's so true, and I just had this conversation with a friend a couple weeks ago. It's so crazy that like you used to go to class to learn wear whatever. You didn't have your hair and makeup done. You would just go, you'd take class. You wouldn't record it, but it was like your little time to like make a mistake or learn a new thing that you weren't that good at.
Yeah,
totally. But now it's like full on with your cutest outfit, and you go and take class, and then they record you, and then it's all on social media. And if you messed up and didn't do the choreography right, you're like, oh. Right. Now it's out there for the whole world to see.
It's so stressful. But the hustle's different, so nowadays it's like, but I mean, obviously, and of course we're coming off of, obviously we're coming off of a global pandemic. Luckily, things seem to be moving in the right direction. And, people are getting vaccinated. Mask mandates are being lowered. Yep. We're coming back. Like I saw this really great billboard the other day when I was driving down the 15, and it was an advertisement, I think, for Bruno Mars's new residency that's coming.
Oh yeah.
And it just said simply in all bold letters, and it was just brilliant marketing. And it just said, it's showtime. Like it's time to get back to work. And I love it. Yeah. So, you were also a part of another show that I absolutely love, and also with some of our other really great girlfriends. You were a Pussycat Doll.
Meow. Yes.
Tell me about that experience. I mean, how did that come about? I mean, it must have been, because here's the thing. It was such a culturally significant moment too, I think, for women, and especially female performers. So what a opportunity to be a part of that. Like, I mean, I'm dying to know a little bit of like behind the scenes info.
Okay. Well, listen, Pussycat Dolls was my most favorite job ever.
Oh, I love that. I was going to ask you, but I'm glad you answered already. I was going to ask you if you had a favorite show in town. I love it.
Pussycat Dolls, because it was obviously the name was, very famous, and, Robin Anton, like all that stuff, the Pussycat Dolls, they had major top 1 hits,
Sure.
So it was amazing to be a part of that. It was also amazing to like kind of find my inner like my inner Pussycat Doll.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Because, I had done a little bit of sexy and I had done a little bit of jazz and like sort of ish burlesque, but not really a whole lot.
Yeah.
But that was like a big turning point for me to do that Pussycat Doll kind of burlesque, which is a little bit more pop style. It's not like vintage burlesque, but it's like the pop kind of burlesque,
Yeah.
And I loved it. The dancing was so much fun, and you found a confidence with it. You honestly really did. And
it was Mikey and Robin that choreographed it?
Yes. Yeah. And they would pop in every once in a while. They weren't always there. But it was great. The costumes were beautiful. They were fully blinged out.
Yeah.
Like, made us look hot, And that is where I met some of my best friends. So,
I love it.
It was awesome. No, I could talk for hours about Pussycat Dolls, and I know we don't have the time, but I honestly just loved it. It was such a great experience, like 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
I would do it over again.
I mean, I wanted to be a Pussycat Doll, but like, so I get it. Yeah. But I mean, you met, is that where you met Sheila and Colby?
Yeah, well, I met Colby and Pussycat Dolls, and I had kind of known of Sheila, but I didn't really know her that well. But when she became a Pussycat Doll, we all kind of like clicked.
I love it.
We're all besties still.
You guys are. Oh my god! And you guys, I follow you guys on social media. I love when you guys actually get together and like when you're in the same city and. Totally. Just because you can tell you guys love each other, and it's such a good friendship, and you guys are also talented. So, yes, girl. But like, yes. I mean, how? And you mentioned the costumes, and this is the thing I want to kind of let the audience know too. Like the audience, the listeners who maybe aren't performers. I mean, that really is one of the. It is one of the fun moments. It's like when you get to wear something sparkly and fabulous for work. I mean, come on. Yeah. That was always my favorite number. That was my favorite moment. Excuse me. Like when I'm going to reference just Jubilee just because that was probably the most blinged out outfits I got to wear as a boy. Right. And I just always said that was always my favorite moment of the daily process of doing the show, aside from actually dancing, was that moment right when you finished getting ready. Like you're in the dressing room and you're in your vanity mirror and you're ready and you give yourself that look of just like, okay.
You give that look like hey girl,
yeah, that hey girl look. Like let's go do a show.
Absolutely. I mean, and there's something to be said about like costumes in the sense of like quality as well, because when you have a costume that's made of good quality and it fits you right, you feel a lot more confident than just something that's just like, here, put this on, it's one night thing. Like, these costumes were fitted to us. And so it's really, really nice when you have quality costumes that you feel extra confident in. And
you feel confident, you feel beautiful, you feel you're ready. It's showtime. I mean,
right. I mean? Yeah. And it was so much fun. I mean, the Pussycat Dolls, we had so many celebrities that came through there too that would do little one night things, and we'd take pictures, and then tons of times after our show, because Pure Nightclub was right next door.
Sure.
We would like stay in our costume if like a celebrity was there and it was their birthday, and we would go like present a cake, and it would be this whole like photo op thing, and Jamie, our singer, would get on the microphone and say, we have so-and-so here. It's their birthday.
Yeah.
And there was this whole big thing, and it was like celebrity status,
fun. So can you tell us, like, as far as like a celebrity that came as like a guest star in the show, like your favorite experience with a specific Pussycat Dolls celebrity?
Oh gosh. There was a lot, but I would say I sort of liked it when Paris Hilton came.
Okay, that's okay. You don't have to be embarrassed to say it.
No, but like
spill the tea on Paris.
She was working it. She was like finding her inner like Pussycat too, and so it was pretty cool. But yeah, we had her. We had Jessica Simpson. We had Kim Kardashian.
I remember the Kim Kardashian one. I think I was there that night. She did the bathtub number, right?
She did the bathtub.
Yep. I remember. Ooh,
yeah,
girl. Have you had anybody?
Thing.
I have to ask. I have to ask. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but do you reversely? Was there a celebrity that was actually difficult to work with, or just a super diva, demanding, anything. And even if you don't want to tell me, well, no, I want you to tell me the name. Never mind.
Okay, well, I'll be honest with you. Most of the times that we had a celebrity come in, we did not rehearse with them.
Okay.
They would rehearse on their own time with like Robin.
Okay.
And they, you know, whether they were singing or whether they were doing the bathtub number or whether they were hosting or kind of doing their own little
shtick
solo thing.
Yeah, sure.
They didn't really do many like numbers with us. It was more like solo stuff.
Okay,
and
so your experience, you weren't face to face with them that often. Beforehand,
it was more like night of, like.
Okay, I see.
We see them on stage. We hang out maybe a little bit. We take a couple of photos and say hi or whatever. But yeah, we didn't really like rehearse. I don't have any.
That's okay. No, that's okay. I mean, it's kind of
for that.
I was hoping we could get some piping hot tea there. But by the way, what are you drinking over there, girl?
Oh, I have tequila with pineapple juice.
Yes. Oh, yeah. That is your drink. You've been drinking that drink for a while.
See, everyone that really knows me knows that this is my drink.
That's your drink, girl. I'm mad at you. That's my drink. Cheers.
Oh, what are you drinking?
Girl,
Do you have any tequila in there?
Listen, no, I'm a vodka girl.
Okay.
So, you know, I'm actually drinking my favorite vodka, Absolute Elix. And
I knew you were going to say that. I did a gig with you for them. Yes.
It's such a good vodka. People. And a good people. Yeah, you did it a couple years, I think. But I love that we can do this while we're drinking and having a cocktail. That's the point.
There we go. Perfect.
Was there any, okay, so in regards to the last thing I want to know about Pussycat Dolls,
yes.
Was there anybody that, I know you told me you really enjoyed working with Paris or having her there, but was there anybody, even if they weren't in the show, but like maybe came to the venue to watch, were you ever starstruck by anybody?
Oh gosh.
Like the most starstruck person that you like for you.
I don't know if it was starstruck, but honestly there was two celebrities that came different nights. Okay. That I loved meeting, and they were so sweet, and they did not do the show, but it was Drew Barrymore.
Aw, yeah.
She's a sweetheart. We took a picture with her. Loved her. And then, if you remember Rachel Lee Cook.
Yeah, of course I remember. Yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah. And she's originally from Minnesota, so we kind of had that in common.
Yeah.
And she took a picture with us, and then she invited us, because she was going to go hang out with her friends next door at Pure. And she like invited us, so I went over there, and I like literally sat down in a nightclub, having a drink, sitting on a couch with Rachel just Lee. Her.
Oh my God, I love it.
Just her and I. And we chatted
like your
for
besties,
like 30 minutes. I am no joke.
I love it.
She was so sweet. Honestly, she'd be like, oh, where were you? You know, where'd you grow up in Minnesota? What brought you out here? Like, what shows have you done? Like, she's asking me about stuff. And I'm like,
she's like, can you give me any advice? I'm trying to get in a show here.
No, but she was a sweetheart. Yeah, but there was tons of celebrities that came through. And most of the time, everyone was really nice.
Yeah. So. Oh, I'm sure. And, you know, that's always so refreshing to hear, you know.
Yeah.
But so moving on to your next fabulous show, another one of my favorites. I swear, I promise I'm not trying to flatter you. Like, I really am just that big of a fan. I really am. But it's also, we're also talking about a span of over 15 years now at this point of work. So it's, you know, it's significant and I love it. But totally. Vegas the Show. You were original cast member of Vegas the Show. Let me tell you that for anybody who doesn't know, really, it was just such a classy, well done show. And it was it incorporated the classic showgirl, which was kind of getting lost in the strip at the time because at the time the Follies Bergère had closed, and which was at the Tropicana, and at the time I believe Jubilee was on its last year or two as well. So it definitely it met, there was a need for it, is what I want to say. And I just thought it was done so well in it, but it was also more than that. There was more than just the showgirl numbers. There was some really, really great choreographed and imagined numbers in there. Remind me, who was it? Tiger Martina, right?
Yep, Tiger. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So now that I've talked about it, you tell me about your experience in the show.
Yeah, It was a fun show, and it was something kind of
you got to do that with Colby too.
I did.
Yep.
She was original cast too, and it was a different kind of show than I had done because it was more of a classic kind of Vegas-y show.
Yeah, you went from like sexy, erotic sexy to burlesque sexy to classic Vegas.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes, girl.
Totally.
She's getting all her genres in.
Totally. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of hard work. The first few months, it was a lot of rehearsal. I was the tallest showgirl in that, or dancer, I should say, in the line. Yeah. And they at the audition, they had us stand in the height line and they had to make a cutoff because they wanted, there was this girl, Carolyn. She was a really great dancer, but she was much shorter. She was in Peep Show.
Okay.
And she was much shorter, but they wanted her as a lead, like you could tell. And so they were like, we need to make a cutoff because
adjust around her, adjust the height line around her. Yeah.
Yeah. So, she was part of, who I could kind of tell they were really looking at. And then Tara Palsha, she was the other kind of lead in that at the time. And so they kind of figured out the height line, but I ended up getting that job, and it was a lot of hard work at the beginning, but so much fun. The cast all got together, together well, got along together well. Yeah. And, it was a lot of fun because it was like Vegas that kind of took you through the years, and it wasn't necessarily like impersonators of Elvis and the Rat Pack and stuff, but
Cher, they had a Cher in there as well. They had a Sonny and Cher, I think, right?
Right. Yeah. Sonny and Cher. I mean, there was plenty of artists that have kind of gone throughout Vegas throughout the years, and it was kind of more paying homage to them. And so,
right.
But Vegas throughout the years, the showgirl things, there was a can number. There was a Hey Mambo, the kind of number. So
the Mambo really Italiano number. Yeah. So good.
Yes.
So and that was a fun show. I actually saw that. I think I saw that show I can't even count. I saw it many times because just being very blessed, knowing people like you and Colby and some of the boys, I was able to get comps pretty much very easily, I guess is what I should say.
And we loved it when we could comp our friends in and cheering for us. Yeah.
And it's always fun. Yeah, exactly. It's always fun to have people cheering for you. I'm loud anyway, so when I'm trying to be loud, it's another level. I know. I don't know if you know this. I know everything about me screams introvert, but coming out of my comfort zone now. No, kidding.
Oh my goodness.
I love it. What was it like working with Tiger? Do you mind if I ask? I don't know him well, but I love his choreography.
Yeah, he is very specific, but I think in a really good way. Mm-hmm. There was just certain styles of dance, the Sonny and Cher one was very that old school, go-go vibe. And then,
that
you had to switch it up.
Moment.
And you had to switch it up when we did Shining Star. It was more glitz and glamours and hips and, laybacks and stuff like that. And so there was definitely different genres of styles that he was very particular at. Mm-hmm. And, that was part of the rehearsal process, was being very, very tedious about those little tiny details, because honestly, they really do make a big difference.
Yeah, no, they definitely do.
Yeah, yeah. But Tiger, he was great. I never had any problems with him, and he is such a visionary, and so it was a good experience for me for sure.
Is the show, I heard it's on, I don't know what the schedule what happened with the show with COVID or whatnot, but wasn't the show also playing here in Vegas, but also on a couple cruise ships at one point?
Yes, they did put it on a couple cruise ships, and I am not really sure exactly how it was. I never was a part of it or anything, but I do know I think it was after I left the show. They kind of were starting to be able to put it on the cruise ship, which is cool. That's a great show to put on a cruise ship, honestly.
Oh, it's perfect. Yeah. So where did you go from there, girl? What was the next big gig?
Oh, well, I had a few smaller-ish shows that I did. I did Sin City Comedy and Burlesque. A comedy and burlesque show, which I also went on a cruise ship with as a guest entertainer. Did that a few times and got to travel. That was awesome. It was a paid vacation.
Yeah.
And then,
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I did Tropicana Nights, and and this show Shaken with Eric Jordan Young. And then I gigged for a long time, just gigging. And then I ended up being a Coyote Ugly girl.
She became a coyote. Yes, girl.
Yes.
You're all these animals. You were a pussycat doll. You're a coyote. Can you howl? Like, can you do the coyote?
Howl.
Oh my God, listen, I love you.
I am a crazy cat lady, okay? I have 2 cats, Zorro and Ziggy, and they are my babies.
I've seen them in the background a couple times. They're cute.
Yeah.
But
yes, girl, I was a coyote.
Yes, honey. Listen, that movie. I remember seeing that movie like everyone else did, and just loving. I loved the movie. I don't know if you liked the movie or not, but I was into it.
I loved it.
And then then when they decided to actually open these venues, I think the first one I went to was in Chicago, but yes, I remember you there. But you actually got to be the MC as well, which I think was a new experience for you at the time. You want to tell me about that?
Yeah, it was. So I had just been a dancer and model and photographer, and it was like very much stepping out of my comfort zone. I like that we say just. We
always put that on ourselves. We're like, I was just a dancer. No, you need to own that success, honey.
I was a dancer, a model, and a photographer.
Yes.
But I would never consider myself someone that I wasn't a singer. I had never been on a microphone. I hated public speaking. I always got so nervous, and I'd slur my words, and I didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
But I auditioned for it because they had a job opening, and I went, and obviously I killed the dancing part. Let's be honest. I killed it.
Yes, she did, honey.
And then the next part, they made cuts, and then they're like, okay, now you need to get on a microphone. You're going to pretend that this is a poppin' club in here, and you need to connect with the audience, and you need to get them to put their hands in the air and to sing the song and get them pumped up. And I was just like, okay, never done this before. Never felt, And so,
because dancers are not typically encouraged to speak. So,
right.
We're not
keep
used
your
to
mouth
being
shut.
liked. Yeah, just shut up and just do the choreography. I told you the counts.
Yeah, right. 5, 6, 7, 8. But so I did it, and I was just like, "What's up, Las Vegas? Welcome." Whatever. I did my whole spiel, right? And they were like, "That's great. Let's hire her." And I was like, "Oh my God, I didn't even know." And so, you start working, and as you're working, they're kind of training you a little bit. So the girls kind of help you, and they kind of give you advice on when the good time to be on the microphone is, when it's not.
Because it was really up to you, right?
What songs are a sing-along song?
Was that sorry? I didn't mean to interrupt you. I apologize. But so was it really up to you, right? You set the tone of the whole night, and there wasn't scripted okay, every night at 9:10 you have to be on stage, or how did that work? How did the show flow work?
Yeah, so we were there for 6-hour shifts, and we usually rotated between 3 and 4 girls, sometimes less, sometimes more, depending on the night. But so it was typically you go on stage for 30 minutes on the main stage, and that's your time that you're on the microphone and you're owning the whole room. And so that was your time to do that on the microphone. Now, there was other stages in the back that you would be on throughout the night, and you would just be go-go dancing, and maybe once in a while jump on the microphone, and you'd kind of, go back and forth.
But you would feel the energy of the room and know when to do what you were with the microphone.
Yeah, so we would just rotate between the stages, and you'd have your moment that you got highlighted, and there was never necessarily scripted, but there was certain things that each person would kind of have as their own little thing, and everyone kind of had their own personality. I would say for me, the way that I dressed and the kind of way I portrayed myself was kind of more pinup / Pussycat Doll / the girl that knew the hip hop songs.
Yeah. I like that little hybrid.
And I would just make and everyone kind of had their own, because there was girls that were this is the country girl. She looks like a country girl, all American girl. She knows all the country music. You know what I mean? And so there was, a girl that was more the rocker girl that with the black hair. And she was so everyone kind of had their own personality. But yeah, it was a lot of fun and just training. learning how to be on a microphone and honestly just finding the confidence and to be on a mic in front of hundreds of people and having them listen to you and be engaged with you. And when you say put your hands in the air, everyone's putting their hands in the air, and I'm singing and now you're singing. And I mean, I wouldn't consider myself a great singer, but I would say like I got to be like an okay singer from being on there. Just you're singing with music, so it's never like full
like
of
the
karaoke.
Movie. No, like in the movie.
No, I wasn't like full on, but yeah, totally. And it was so much fun, and I loved that I was able to find a new talent there, and then by being an MC there, I was able to eventually book gigs outside of Coyote Ugly where I was an MC.
Perfect.
And so that was great. And it's another little tidbit on my resume, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, and that's so key. I think that it's always important to remember with any of us and really in any industry, but that, you know, to allow yourself to be open to doing something that you've never done before, or to step out of your comfort zone, as cliche as that sounds, because you never know what it'll lead to, you know. And you know, you were fabulous as an MC. I definitely saw you there. I swear, I feel like people listening to this are going to think that I've been your stalker, because I'm like, yes, I saw you in that show. Yes, I saw you in that show.
Bill, you can stalk me anytime.
No. I swear, audience, like we're friends. It wasn't creepy. I went to go support. Anyway, no, okay.
We love it.
So, do you know what's happening though with Coyote Ugly? I mean, is it reopened? Is it going to reopen? I don't really know what's going on with them.
Yeah, well, I'm not 100% sure exactly on all the details. I know that they've slightly opened up only select hours.
Okay.
But it's literally pretty much just a bar. It's not
there's
like
not a
Coyote Ugly yet.
Okay. I see.
Yeah, it's just like sit down at a table now and order your drinks at the bar or order them from the girls. Like it's still the same girls that work there, the bartenders that were there. Mm-hmm. And they're dressed like a coyote, but as far as I know, right now they're not like dancing or really getting on the microphone or doing the dances and stuff like that. So that's sort of a bummer, because that's what makes Coyote Ugly, you know.
Sure.
Is the entertainer aspect and the crowd participation and stuff like that. So I'm sure at some point it will come back. As for me, I personally don't think that I'll go back. I feel like it's kind of too much time has gone by, and I feel like I'm kind of on to new things and stuff, and just next chapter kind of thing.
Okay,
but
that's totally fair. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little, and I'm sure there's hundreds of entertainers in town that unfortunately, due to the pandemic, you know, well, we all lost our jobs, you know, in a sense, or at least paused them, but a lot of them lost jobs that are not coming back. And it was unfortunate because we kind of all thought, okay, we're going to get like a little vacation for a few weeks in a sense. And then we're going to go back to work.
It was going to be that long.
And we didn't know it was like our final bow or like last time we were going to do that dance. And it's kind of, you know, so that's kind of a bummer. Because you kind of want that like final curtain call, but
of course, yeah, it's almost kind of like needing closure at the end of a relationship. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So let's talk more about the entrepreneurial. Am I saying that right? Entrepreneurial side of you.
Yes.
You have to like really think about how to say that last R there. But so first of all, let's talk about Amanda Nowak Photography. You've grown your business. I'm not looking at your numbers. I don't know what they are, but it looks like that photography business has grown and been quite successful in town. And full disclosure, Amanda Nowak did the photos for all of the Hey Girl. Every picture you see of me on Hey Girl, she took it. So
I was hoping you were going to say that, because honestly, when I saw that your podcast came out and that you were using that photo, I was like, yes, girl. Like, I love this.
Oh, I'm so glad. I was hoping you would
shoot.
Be. Oh, it was so much fun. We had the best time, and you really made me feel comfortable. Like even though I'm a performer, it's still not. That was one of my things. I was never, even as a performer, I mean, I was comfortable in live shows, moving and doing things, but modeling never came like natural to me. So, like actually standing in front of a camera, you know, but you always made me feel comfortable, and we laughed and we had fun, and you got some really, really great shots. And that is all you. That was not me, girl. Like, I don't know how some of those photos came out. You made me look amazing.
It was a team effort.
It was a team effort. I remember we were like, you were even like, when you pulled out that disco ball, you're like, I've got this disco ball. You want to do some stuff with this? And I was like, yes.
I have a lot of random props that I just, in the moment, I just get inspired, and I'm like, you know what? I think this needs a disco ball, or this needs
glitter, or
a bouquet of flowers, or this needs whatever, you know?
Remember in the martini glass, we put glitter?
Yes, we did. And you had that fancy bow tie with all the rhinestones on it.
Rhinestones. Oh my God, it's so funny. Well, but anyway, so yes, it was fabulous, and I loved it, and they came out so good. Like, and that's the thing. I think for people should know, like when they're booking a photographer for anything, it's like you want someone that makes you comfortable in front of the camera, and also you capture moments that are special, which I love. I think that's probably something that you love doing about it. But I'll let you talk more about it because I keep talking too much. So you go.
Yeah, no, talk. I love it.
Tell me, why photography? Like, why did we? Where does that passion come from, and what drives you in that?
Okay, so this is gonna sound just so random, but literally one night I could not sleep at night. I was thinking in my mind, what am I going to do when I can't be a dancer anymore? When I can't perform anymore, what's my next thing?
Sure.
I didn't go to college. Dancing was all I knew. That was my love and passion, knowledge, everything. And I couldn't sleep at night. And the first thing I thought was, well, what do I like doing? What do I enjoy? And I was like, I really enjoy taking photos. That was the first thing that came to my mind. I was never a photographer before. I just always would be the one that always had my camera with me, and I would just love taking pictures of people. And so, like, literally laying in bed, I'm like, I'm going to be a photographer. I'm going to save up my money. I'm going to buy a camera.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start practicing. So that's how it started.
Self-taught. Completely self-taught, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bravo.
Yeah, self-taught. And I love doing it. And I've seen how much my photos have progressed throughout the years because I've been doing photography for like 10 or 11 years now. And just seeing how I progressed, like I get excited with myself when I I was like, dang, that's good. And then when my clients, they post it online or they're complimenting like, oh my God, I love my photos. Like that, it really means a lot to me. I love that. And I love seeing when people post their photos online and people like it and they comment on it, and I'm like, yeah, I helped make that.
You did. Yeah, you did. Okay. So being self-taught and actually been doing this now for 10 to 11 years, do you ever look back at some of your early work and go, what was I thinking? Or what was in photography? Like, have you ever looked back and been like, I can't believe back then I thought that was what it should look like? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I haven't felt like super, super bad about something in the past, but I've definitely looked back. I'm like, oh, why did I put that filter on it? Or why did I have her pose that way? It would have been so much more flattering to have her pose this way. But yeah, I mean, that's just something that you learn and you gain knowledge from practice. So, you look back on it, but it's a learning experience.
It is.
And I honestly love doing it. And I found such a passion for it. And I mean, most of my clientele are like dancers and models, and which a lot of them are my friends or a friend of a friend, or someone's already within the industry, so I already know what they need in order to make it in this industry because I had to do the same thing.
Sure.
And so I love doing that, and of course I do like kids photos and family photos, engagements.
You've done weddings, yeah.
I started doing weddings recently, and so. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I love doing it, and it's just another like aspect of like the arts and entertainment industry, and so it's my little artsy side.
It's perfect. So now let's talk about your newest company, Pop-Up Performers.
Yes.
It's one of Las Vegas's newest entertainment and talent companies. I'm gonna just sit back and let you talk about this because this is actually something really exciting. I'm so glad that we have the opportunity to do this. So go ahead.
Okay, so this all started during the pandemic, and obviously I wasn't working, I lost my job. There's no entertainment in town, right? No shows to go to, nothing. So I was actually chatting with one of my good friends, Todd White, and he kind of threw this idea in my ear of like, you should have like this Telegram company where like a singer or dancer comes to your front door and like does a performance for you because you can't go out and see any performances.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, that's like a really cool idea. Like, I mean, singing telegrams aren't something new per se. They've been around for many years, but like, I don't think enough people are doing it really. And I was like, This is a great way to kind of keep entertainment a little bit alive and bring entertainment to people that can't go out and see any. And so, and honestly, in the back of my mind for many, many years, I always thought it would be cool to like have an entertainment company or like a casting agency or something, because I had been in the industry for so long and I've met so many different people and I know so many talented, you know, dancers and singers and everything, performers. And a lot of times other agencies would be like, Amanda, do you know
somebody who can do this? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I would be like, yes, this girl, and send it or text it to them or call them. And, you know, so I was like already helping.
You're already doing it, but you're not getting a commission. Yeah.
Right. And so I'm like, I'm actually kind of good at this because I know a lot of people. I've been in this town long enough to know a lot of people and super talented people. And I would love if I could help them get jobs, you know? So that's kind of where it started. And, you know, I talked to my husband, I talked to my best friends, Katie, Colby, and Sheila, and kind of told them about this. And they were like, you need to do this. This is so up your alley. Like, you already know everybody. And so I kind of ran with it. I got How to Start a Business for Dummies book. And
I love
like,
you.
literally, I'm not kidding. Started reading that.
I love it.
And yeah. And I like made this whole list of like, you know, I was searching on Google, like how to start a business, like what licenses do I need?
Right. What type of insurance do I need, et cetera.
I know. Yeah. So, you know, how to get an LLC, you know, whatever. And so I had this whole list and I eventually just started checking them off and doing it, getting all my licenses, getting liability insurance, buying an LLC, making my website. Like I made my own website. I felt like it was pretty good.
It is. And, it's great.
Thank you. And I'm already a photographer, so I'm taking photos myself of all the talent and using those as the photos for advertisement. And so that's kind of what it was going to start off with, is bringing entertainment to you since you can't go and see any. And so we did like, so there was like an Elvis impersonator, Lady Gaga, Britney Spears, you know, it could be kind of whatever celebrity impersonator or performer in general, just to your front door.
Sure.
And so it started off with like that. And then I started adding in like princesses and like superheroes
for like little girls'
kids' birthdays
parties and stuff. Or from I would want a princess to come to my party. So it doesn't even have to be a little girl.
Exactly. Yeah, right? Totally. And we did a little boy's birthday party and it was a princess party. He wanted Elsa. He loved Frozen. So like
I love it.
It doesn't have to be gender based, but
I know. I was just being silly saying even me as an adult, I still want a princess party.
No, but I love that you said that because it is a thing. Like, you know, like I love that. Kids just love, you know, all the cartoons and the characters and stuff. But, so that's kind of how it started. And then I have showgirls, lots of showgirls, and I started collecting costumes. You know, unfortunately, due to the pandemic, a lot of entertainment companies had to close down their doors. They just couldn't do business anymore. And a lot of them had costumes that they needed to get rid of. So I was able to take advantage of that and, you know, and buy costumes that were like slightly used for much, much cheaper than buying them brand new.
Sure.
Especially for someone who's just starting out a new company. And so I did that. I've been starting to collect lots of costumes and, you know, booked
and where
out
are these?
showgirls.
Are these like in like a room at your house, or have you like made a wardrobe room at your house, or is it in your garage? Like, what are you doing?
So this is going to sound really weird, but I have a basement.
That's not. Oh, what's that weird? But I guess you're right. In Vegas, they're not that
in Vegas. It's really weird.
You're right. It is actually. Yeah.
In Michigan or Minnesota, everyone has a basement. That's very, very normal. But not in Vegas. I have a very old home, so I have a 700 square foot basement, and it's actually my photography studio.
Oh,
so that's where I do most of all my photo shoots, if we're doing them in the studio. And then I have a little area, and I have costume racks where I'm collecting all my costumes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's been great. And then I just want to eventually grow it into more of a full entertainment company because Vegas is starting to open up, you know, shows are opening back up. Conventions will start coming, corporates will start coming back. And so
sure.
It's kind of evolving into
Absolutely.
that. But it's been exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely can see it going in that direction for sure. No, but wait, well, you were talking about impersonators. You do Taylor Swift yourself, right? Like you yourself like impersonate Taylor Swift, right? Or am I wrong?
Okay. Everyone tells me I look like Taylor Swift, especially when I have like my little cat eye and my red lips.
Right, and the blonde hair or too, or wig.
Yeah, I mean, when I had my blonde hair, yeah. But even people with my red hair, they're like, "Oh my God, you look like Taylor Swift with red hair."
Yeah.
I was gonna do Taylor Swift. I honestly was. I had costumes made. This was before I did Coyote Ugly, honestly, and so I hadn't even really been on a microphone or anything, and I got nervous. I chickened out. And I was like, I can't do this. Like, it's too much. I don't know how to act like someone else. I just know how to like act like myself.
Aww.
And so I did not end up going through with it. Like, I dressed up as her a couple times for like Halloween.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And so I had like the costume, but I didn't end up doing it.
That's okay. Well, at least you maybe you'll revisit it, now that you're more comfortable on the microphone and everything.
Yeah, you never know.
And speaking of Halloween, this just occurred to me. You and your husband always throw like an amazing Halloween party. Like it's the Halloween party to go to. And I love that one year when you were dressed up as like Peg Bundy. And that was fun.
That was one of my favorite costumes. Yeah. And Peg Bundy, and my husband was Al Bundy. Yeah. And that was a really big thing. We have it every year. It's our annual thing. We love doing it. Like every year our costume is something like together. Yeah. And so it's pretty cool. I love it.
Well, listen, I want to give you an opportunity to just, if you have any, you've had so much success. And I love that, when we see artists and other performing artists that know how to re-strategize. And, obviously in this last year when nobody was performing, this was the opportunity to, and even before that, because you mentioned even before the pandemic, you were thinking like what you were trying to strategize over whenever the day came that performing was over, what's next. And that's when you went into, your photography and et cetera. And I just think it's so smart and it's so valuable, but it's something that not as many people talk about as they should, about being able to, create other, forms of income for yourself as a performer when you're moving out of that role. If you have any words of wisdom for anyone listening that you could instill, that would be really lovely.
Yeah. I kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but like, don't pigeonhole yourself into just one thing, find new things that you're good at. And I think that some people did take advantage of that during the pandemic as they found a new something for them to get into because they had all this extra time, whether it was getting into photography or getting into video editing or podcasting, starting to choreograph things or go learn how to be a yoga instructor. I mean, there's all these things that people can do. And I think you just have to be really driven to do it. And you can still do what you love to do and what you know to do in the meantime, but like take that time to like think about your future. I think it's really important. And, we can't perform forever. It's just the truth. And it's unfortunate. Yeah. We want to be able to perform forever, but like our bodies, they're not going to let us. And no one's going to book us when we're 70 years old. It's just not going to happen. I just think it's important to be able to, find another niche. And it doesn't have to be something in the performance industry too. Like you could be an insurance broker if that's what you want to do, or a real estate agent, or go back to school, or whatever you want to do. But I think that it's important to be able to kind of find that. And, I guess that's...
Yeah, no, that's great. So listen, tell everybody how they can get in touch with you if they're looking for a fabulous photographer or if they want to hire a performer from Pop-Up Performers. I will definitely put everything in the description of the episode, but just tell everyone now how they can do it.
Yeah, sure. So I have 3 Instagrams. I have my personal one. It's Amanda Nowak. It's Nowak. Yep. And then Amanda Nowak Photography. And then Pop-Up Performers. And there's no hyphens or anything like that. But
and that's a lot of work for people who don't know. I mean, running multiple social media platforms, that's on top of running your business. That's a lot. Okay.
Totally. But social media, it has become one of those things where you just need to stay on top of it. And sometimes it's really silly to have to be like, oh, I need to post a photo. And I think it's one of those things that I've learned. It's like out of sight, out of mind for certain people. And people are going to scroll through their phone. You just need to be in their sight, because when they have a gig, they're like, oh yeah, Amanda, I just saw whoever in their feed, and they remember that. And so I think it's important, it's something that we have to do. And unfortunately it's sort of like silly that we have to do it. And sometimes we have to take
our selfies, and we have to like post things about behind the scenes stuff of the company or what you're working on.
Right.
Just to let people feel like they're a part of it,
Right. Yeah, but I do enjoy social media, and it's fun to kind of get to share some things that you're doing in your life, whether it's personal or within your company. Like, I think it's fun. And like on my photography page, I basically get to share my art,
Yeah.
So,
I love it.
So I love that.
Well, listen, I had the best time. I'm so glad we finally got to do this. You're lovely. Yes. And again, I've said it a million times that, I'm a fan. And I just have so much respect for you and for what you're doing. And I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of what you're doing with Pop-Up Performers. So bravo. Keep it up, girl.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me again. It's been a while that we talked about this, and we finally got it done, and we had a drink, and we chatted it up.
Girl. I
love it.
All right, girls. Yes. So listen, if you like what you heard, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Make sure you check us out on our website at www.heygirlpodcast.com. Girl is spelled with a U. We have not just episodes on there, but we have Hey Girl merch. And we also have monthly musical playlists, thanks to our friends at Spotify. So check those out, and you can listen to them when you're in the car, working out, working, doing homework, meditating. Well, it's probably not meditative music, but you get the deal. Anyway. And we, of course, have Hey Girl cocktails on there with tutorials and recipes to have your sparkliest, girlish cocktails. Coming soon, though, I want to let you guys all know Gay Pride Month is coming up, and so I have a lot of fun stuff coming up for that. We will have a Hey Girl Pride cocktail and a Hey Girl Pride playlist. So keep an eye out for all of that. I love you so much, Amanda. Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Love you.
I love you too.
Bye, girl.
Girl, bye.